New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Well, good evening to one and all, live or recorded from the top secret concrete bunker located somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret that only one person knows where it's at. Everyone else, including that Robert Brzezinski guy that I work for, they have no clue where we are doing the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael Mangus, and it is my honor to present this program to you this evening. We are recording, and I know many of you are going to be disappointed here because I don't have any news to comment on tonight. I know. Maybe you'll have to call a practitioner or a therapist. But we do have a great show for you this evening. And again, we have on guests and talk about topics that are relevant. And so what we do is we go ahead and we have our cup of coffee, which this evening is pumpkin spice in my I Believe cup. I've had this cup probably for about 5 years now, but my I Believe cup, pumpkin spice. And again, we all just gather around the fireplace and really have an extremely good conversation about what is going on in the world. Well, this evening, I have a very special guest as I introduce her here. Catherine Duca is a licensed clinical social worker. She's a sought-after self-esteem expert, author, speaker, trainer, psychotherapist, EFT, that's emotional freedom technique, or tapping practitioner. Her passion is helping her clients and audiences with big ideas and dreams find the inner confidence that they need to pursue and achieve them. Her motivational style has been described as one part spin instructor, one part empathetic friend, and one part insightful guide. After earning a master's degree in social work from Rutgers, she studied at the Institute for Accelerated Empathetic Therapy in New York City, where she later joined the faculty and trained other therapists in transformational healing modalities. Wow. And we're working on a brand new show here on the New Thought Media Network. And I'm going to let Catherine explain it to you. And it's really good to see you in front of your brand new broadcast setup in which someone actually listened to me. I know,
Yes,
but I'm not, what now?
guilty as charged.
Someone actually listened to me. I spec'd out some nice stuff, didn't I?
It's beautiful.
Well, so she's very well connected, by the way. Catherine had a tech from NBC
Yep. Give me
come over and put all this stuff together, and even she was impressed.
I have to say she was. With very good reason. Very good reason.
Well, good to see you this evening, and thank you for being on a very special program. I'm sorry I don't have any news for you to comment on.
No, there isn't much going on. I know.
No, something about an election. And
I heard about it. I don't know. Hold on. But it is great to be here with you tonight, cozy by the fire, and I think we're going to have some great conversation. Great conversation.
Yes. So let me show the book here. And this is you can get this on Amazon. Unmask, Discover the Hidden Power of Your True Self. So, Catherine, how did a nice lady like you get involved in therapy? and having A-list clients, by the way.
All right. Well,
having A-list clients and also transforming. Let me just say this. I think I'll have to bring up the your wonderful website during our break here. But man, you have a nice website too, CatherineDuca.com. But tell us how you got involved in doing therapy and what motivated you to write your book.
I'll tell you exactly how I got motivated to become a psychotherapist. I was born in Hackensack, New Jersey, to two wonderful parents, Grace and John, who could not have been more opposite in their styles, in their parenting, in the way they approached life day and night. And I grew up to a lot of arguing every morning. My parents had a business. They were in the construction business. And as you would imagine, there's a lot that can go on in the construction business. And so I awakened each and every morning during my elementary school years to intense arguing. And I could hear from my bedroom that each of my parents had a good point, and I lay in my bed and I thought to myself, well, I see his point and I see her point, but they're talking past each other. Now I'm 8 years old, I'm 9 years old. And I thought I should go out there and I didn't know what the word mediate meant, but I should go out there and sort of help them communicate because they're talking past each other, but they both have very valuable points of view.
Okay.
And then somewhere in high school, I learned that there was a career for a person who wanted to do that. And that career was psychology. And that was it. I was just fascinated with how we got to be the person each of us is, and, how we relate to one another, and oftentimes how we talk past one another. And so I was hooked, and I wrote this book, Unmasked, which is really the heart of my work. And I started to write it, I don't know, a few years ago or maybe a year before COVID, but I really hunkered down and wrote the bulk of it during COVID. Why? Because it was very clear to me, as I think to many of our listeners, that no one is coming to save us. No one has the answers. It's very difficult to place our trust in any leader. We cannot take a passive route. We can no longer, we have to take the wheel in whatever way is right and meaningful, but we cannot be passive spectators in this thing called the politics of life. So I wrote, and as I stated in the opening of the book, there's never a good time to not know who we are. But not knowing now in these times is especially perilous. So I wrote the book on how we can be more of who we are. now let me switch to the podcast.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, because it ties in. The name of the podcast is Who Do You Think You Are? Who do you think you are? And I like to say, not to be confused with that snarky, self-critical voice, who do you think you are? No, that's not how I mean it. It's who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Because who we think we are is not necessarily who we are at core. You know, each of us came into this world a bundle of pure perfection, pure love. End of story. We were inherently worthy and deserving. Full stop.
Absolutely.
Full stop, right? And then what happened? We began to grow up. And, you have parents, you have siblings, teachers, society telling us who we need to be in order to be loved, appreciated, approved of, seen, valued, heard, who we think we need to be in order to qualify for that. So what did we do? We were very, intuitive, smart little beings. We adapted to those expectations. And in so doing, we created these, what I call masks, which are our identity, our persona, our cover up, if you will. And then we go about life living in and trying to perfect that facade, that cover up. And somewhere along the line, we confused who we really are for these masks. So we believed the image that we were trying to project. And, when my clients come to me, and I'm blessed, you mentioned my client, I have a beautiful clientele, very blessed. And 9 times out of 10, when a client calls me, what they really want help with is perfecting their mask. Their mask had some cracks in it, and they experienced some unhappiness as a result. I'll get more into that. But they really, without realizing it, were asking me to help them bring their mask back so where it can be intact.
Yeah.
Right.
And you tell them?
Oh, I said, well, that's really, we're going to do something more magnificent than polish your mask. We're going to reveal who you really are.
Wow.
And it is a wow. It is a wow. Now, that isn't exactly how the opening conversation normally goes with my clients, but that's the gist of what happens as the process evolves. The true self emerges.
We're talking this evening here on Friday's Fireside Chat here with yours truly, Reverend Michael Mangus. We're talking with Catherine Duca, who's a well-respected psychotherapist and also author. And she is going to be having a brand new program on our network here called Who Do You Think You Are? It's going to premiere the first Sunday in November and at 9 o'clock Eastern. And that's 6 Pacific time. So we're really excited about having Catherine come on board. We met while working on another program, and her partner, who's a religious science minister, decided to end the program. And I just said, you know what? Let me call Catherine up and she's interested in coming on our having her own show. And she said yes. And
well,
that's what we've been working on here for the past few months here. Let me show you her wonderful website here. Hold on here. Technical. You have to, when you run the dials here also, let's see here.
I'm so impressed that you can do that.
Walk and chew gum. It's something like that. Okay. So we're going to go here and we are going to go here. And there you go. Yeah. It says, CatherineDuca.com. And again, it's you only better. How about that? You only better. So CatherineDuca.com if you'd like more information and to be able to and also maybe even have a discovery session if you are interested in maybe working with Catherine. So what I found fascinating about you when we had the other minister on, and you guys had, the two of you had a program, was that some of your clients are religious science practitioners.
Yes.
Who went ahead and said, I need more. Now, I want to say something to our audience and those other science of mind practitioners and also ministers, is that it's not that our stuff doesn't work. It's that there's been some misconception about that we're to only use the mind and not to get in touch with our feelings and also the body. Because that's what I was taught back in the 80s, is that, you know, if you had feelings, you know, the feelings were the result of a thought, and that you were to go ahead and to affirm it away. However, through therapy, what I learned was that those parts of me that were there because I needed to survive in an abusive household, where I was abused not only at home, but also at school, that it got to the point where those coping skills didn't work anymore, and stuffing my feelings. So talk to me about how you work specifically with practitioners and also ministers, and what kind of process do you go through? Now, again, these individuals are very highly motivated.
Of course.
All right. They're very, they've been working on themselves for years. So for them to get into a program to help other people through prayer, being a practitioner, you know, you have a pretty motivated individual. So talk to me about, why do they come to you?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak to that. The practitioners, generally speaking, with whom I've had the privilege of working, call me with a profound sense of frustration and I think sadness, actually, that their very strong spiritual devotion has not allowed them to necessarily live the life they want to live, or to get through their blocks. And they're very frustrated because, you know, they have been praying. And so what we've arrived at in general is that, you know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And in the human experience, we have something called a personality. And in that personality structure, we have certain coping abilities. And some coping strategies are better than others. Sometimes our coping strategies are overwhelmed by the challenges of life. And sometimes one might not feel deserving in the personality, knowing that the divine lives within these particular individuals, know that they are love and know that they are loved. They know that within their spiritual being, but within their emotional, psychological being, they can get stuck in unworthiness or a belief that certain emotions are too negative and one shouldn't be feeling them. And so really my goal when working with a practitioner or a minister is to try to integrate those two realms. Like, yes, each of us is love and, you know, wants to love others. And we are psychologically worthy. We are not necessarily those expectations placed on us by outside influences, by our parents or authority figures. So I would say the biggest goal is the goal of integration, bringing those two realms of our being together.
Right. And that is in our movement or in New Thought circles. That is a new thought.
It's a new
It
thought.
wasn't that long ago in which you were taught, no, you don't need to go to therapy. You just, say this affirmation or do this prayer, and that understand that even Dr. Israel Regaldi, who's a very well-known occultist, and also he wrote about metaphysics. He also studied psychotherapy and was a well-known psychotherapist in Los Angeles. And so what he wrote in his book back in the 40s was about that, yes, and that if you have situations, things that you have suppressed, is that now that will block your ability to experience yourself, which is yourself being the divine nature is you.
Yes.
So we've had hints of this for years, but it hasn't been, it's been since probably like the late 90s that individuals have been talking about spiritual band-aids and also toxic religion, of which I think that part of that can be, there were at one time some things that were somewhat toxic, even in New Thought. So the whole idea that we are to get, and again, I read this in Ernest Holmes, is that we are to use whoever that we need. It does not mean that you have to go to your practitioner. Yes, a practitioner can be used. Also, with you going to a therapist, they can go ahead and they can back you up, because both are separate here. So anyhow, so talk to us about the current climate that we're in, especially politically. And, you talked about coming out of COVID, and many of us experienced changes because of COVID. I know that, I lost a job in Pittsburgh and that, came back here. So talk to us about the anxiety that individuals are having around, especially this political season, and how can individuals work through the anxiety?
Sure. Great question. I'm reminded that about a year into COVID, a group of psychiatrists got together and wrote a proposal to have in the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. It's the handbook where all mental disorders are outlined and given codes. We call it the Bible of psychology or psychiatry. And these psychiatrists got together and wanted to include the term political depression as a diagnosable disorder. Now, I'm not crazy about the term disorder, but nevertheless, that's what it was called, political depression, because after the election in 2016, people were experiencing a collective and personal malaise, an underlying feeling that something is kind of quaking. And in some cases, clients who came to my office couldn't quite pinpoint why they felt that way. But upon examination, they're like, yeah, it's the climate. I don't know who I can trust. There was a crisis of belief in authority. What are our leaders doing? What's happening? Up looks down, black looks white. What's happening? And then, of course, the racial unrest that really came to a crescendo, George Floyd and all of that, which part of that resulted in a profound awakening. But I mean, it really fleshed out so much that was under the surface at that time, so much racism and judgment. So political depression, and I think it's gotten worse. I think it's gotten worse, and we find ourselves. I mean, clients have described to me in this election cycle, in the past couple of months, I'm holding my breath. I'm on edge. If this happens, I will feel this way. If this happens, I don't know if I can live here. And they're not kidding. They're really not kidding. So the existential threat to our way of life, to freedom, as many people are very worried about, is under the skin of many. It is palpable. The anxiety is palpable. And so this adds another layer of difficulty. You know, everybody has their own lives and their own challenges and their own families, and they're trying to now. And then you add to that this layer, and life becomes, for many, very constricted. So what to do about it?
Yeah. So in 2016, when President 45 was elected, for me, it brought up feelings of being very unsafe. And again, a lot like the feelings that I experienced growing up, in which that there were people at the helm that were kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and that you did not know what character that you were going to deal with that day. That's how I felt during that time. Now, since then, since we've had a change in regimes, in presidents, is that I have felt a lot safer. Do I agree with everything? No. But what I've seen, though, especially in this, especially in 45 trying to get into office again, what I see underlying that is an extreme rage. The book that I'm reading calls it extreme white rage, white rural rage, where that even if that individuals vote for politicians that do not have their best interest, that's okay. That there is no logical talking to them. And I find that very frustrating in talking with individuals on Facebook. And people have said, why do you do that? Why do you go ahead and you have dialogue with these individuals? You know what they're going to say. And I say, yeah, and you can see I've been in improv. Yes, and that that's the only way that we're going to come out of this is dialogue. I think, again, our whole country needs therapy.
Oh, listen.
Our whole country needs therapy. And again, that what I've seen here is the loss of reasoning. Why would you, again, and especially with Christians, I'll just, especially evangelical Christians, why would you support an individual that has had 3 wives, has cheated on all of them, has said some derogatory things towards women? The list goes on and on. Why would they go ahead and do that? And again, it's just beyond logic there, why individuals would go ahead and support someone like that is contrary to the teachings of Jesus and contrary to any kind of Christian morals or values. And one more thing is that I was reading the other day about how that in Catholicism, there is a great movement of social welfare, social action, and that individuals who are in the so-called cult mindset, they don't understand, again, it's not something that's just come up. It's based upon the teachings of Jesus. So how do we have any type of peace of mind here during this extremely troubling time?
Well, I don't presume to have the answer to that, but I do have some.
Well, I thought you did.
Well, the closest I could come is a hypothesis or two. You know, the incongruence that you just described, how people can believe one thing but then support a candidate who espouses and who has lived out and, openly and verbally lived out the complete opposite. I do not understand that disparity. But I'll tell you what, I think that the candidate that we're referring to projects. Tell me what you think, Michael. Tell me if this makes any sense to you or if you agree.
Okay.
I think he projects a paternal image. I'm the only one who can fix that. I'm going to protect women. I'm your retribution. I'm the one. I'm going to make this okay. Don't worry your pretty little heads about this. I've got it. And I think there must be a fundamental hunger for a parental figure who's going to make everything better. I think that vibe appeals to the dare I say, undeveloped child within. Each of us has a beautiful inner child, but if that child is still longing for a mommy or a daddy, I think this individual appeals right to that. I'm going to make it okay. That, coupled with what our culture was like shortly before the election, or shortly before he ran. I take you back to The Apprentice. And I just want to say, by the way, he always fascinated me. Before he ran, he always fascinated me. I ran into him one time at the Plaza Hotel.
No.
I did.
You know everyone, Catherine.
Well, we're like this. We're like this.
I would be concerned if you said we're like this, but go ahead.
I was having tea at the Plaza Hotel. It was around Christmas time, and he was in the lobby and speaking with a group of men. And I don't know, the expressions on their faces were, they seemed pretty rapt in whatever he was saying. Very attractive man, I thought. He oozed charisma, I thought. And I was always just intrigued by him and his business and how he got to be. So I watched everything, every documentary and everything before he came down the escalator. And I watched The Apprentice. And I think I had the flu or something. And so I was in bed and I came on The Apprentice. I think it was Celebrity Apprentice. But what fascinated me about that show, and by extension, the climate around, was I thought it was an act. He used humiliation. He used rat out your fellow teammate.
Yes.
He complimented a contestant if he or she was underhanded and sneaky. I thought it was an act, but you couple that vibe, and his show wasn't the only show that thrived on a voyeuristic kind of thing. Watch people disintegrate, watch people's dysfunctionality, watch Watch people who have a hoarding disorder and watch that as entertainment. I mean, this is people's, you know, the most tender, unresolved, wounded parts of people. And that became entertainment. So humiliation became kind of an acceptable vibe.
Right.
Ratting on one another, acceptable vibe. You put all that together, and this powerful man with name recognition, and I think we have the perfect storm for people saying, I want to try that. I want to live vicariously through him. He gave license to punch people in the nose, and I think that just appealed to a suppressed impulse in people.
And also, it's okay to be racist.
It's okay
It's okay to be homophobic.
Well,
It's okay to voice those in the public now.
because anyone who is different is a threat.
Absolutely.
The othering anybody who's a threat. So make America great again the way it was for white people back in the day. Let's go back there.
Well, again, that's with The Apprentice, that again, then I've learned this through listening to other people who worked on The Apprentice with Donald Trump, was that he was not this successful businessman that they had to bring in to his office all of this furniture. They spent over $1 million of working with Donald Trump to put together this fictional character who, by the way, had been bankrupt 6 times.
Yes, I know.
Put together this fictional character that resonated with individuals, and now we find ourselves with round 2 of maybe even having him back in office with an individual that says, with Trump saying that I'm going to go after my political opponents, that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jail them. I'm going to suspend the Constitution.
And I believe he will. I believe he absolutely will do that.
And I also, with the, especially with the LGBTQ marriage act, that I believe that's next on the chopping block, that the Supreme Court, with all of the conservative judges that they put on there, that, Roe versus Wade was the first volley. The next volley is probably going to be same-sex marriage. And so it's just, again, this is the concerns I'm hearing. This is people who are coming up to me and saying, what do we do? How do we keep our peace during this? And I know that you're going to have all the answers, Catherine Duca, right after we take this break. Catherine Duca.
I appreciate the heads up. Okay.
Oh yeah. So she'll do a little bit of research. Well, we're gonna we'll do a break and then we'll come back here. And again, thank you everyone for joining us this evening here on the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael Mangus, and it's really good to have everyone with us this evening. And we have some announcements. So this Sunday, I won't be there, but this is my home community, which is summitcsl.org. For more information about our online gathering, please go to our website, summitcsl.org. To inquire about our wonderful Sunday gathering, that's at 10:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Pacific Time. Yes, I know it's early in the morning for my friends in California, but get yourself a big cup of coffee like I do and come join us. We have a great service. And the reason being is that I believe that we balance what I call the 3 M's, and that's music, meditation, and message. And so this Sunday, as our special guest, we will have our spiritual director, the newly declared emeritus practitioner, Diana Mangus, will be speaking about Fall into Your Greatness. So that's this Sunday, newly declared emeritus. Isn't that cool? So go to summitcsl.org for more information. Again, our service is simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page, and also all of our past broadcasts of yours truly with the Fireside Chat, and also with yours truly doing prayer. That's all on YouTube and also on our Facebook page. All right. So we are going to take, and I mean a brief break. I'm only going to play one commercial, and then we'll be right back. This is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat, recorded, but always entertaining, here on Positively Inspiring New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
Now, Catherine, our legal department at the New Thought Media Network, they demand that I play that. Now, for your show, they said, oh, no, Catherine's really nice. She's not going to say anything that's going to make anyone upset. Catherine Duca is my very special guest this evening on a very special broadcast of the Fireside Chat. We are recording this because yours truly has weddings this weekend, and then next week I'll be at Unity Village to help with the technical broadcast of the Associated New Thought Network, or Anton. So we're kind of recording stuff, but I've had the privilege of working with Catherine over the past few months. We are developing a brand new program here, Who Do You Think You Are? And that will be premiering the first Sunday in November. And and oh man, you look really, you look like you're in your element, Catherine, with your microphone and your headsets. And you are ready to broadcast to the whole world. How about that?
Reverend Michael, anyone who knows me well knows that I spent my elementary school years and my high school years standing in front of the mirror with a hairbrush, dreaming about the day I would have a radio show or something like this, and you, with this beautiful equipment and this wonderful opportunity, have given me that dream. And I thank you so very much.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's really been a real pleasure working with you here over the past several months. And I'm really excited about getting the program on the air. And what's going to be really nice is that you will follow, your lead-in program will be the Miracle of Prosperity, which is one of our highest rated programs. So we're going to
terrific show.
Terrific show. So we're going to get individuals then to go ahead and to hopefully to stay tuned and to watch your show. All right. So Catherine, let's talk about some practical techniques that when I'm feeling triggered about this whole situation, this whole political situation, what are some practical things that I can do to regain a sense of peace?
Sure. Number one, there's no magic. There's no magic in the world here. We're talking about coping. How can we best cope with our anxiety about the political climate? Number one, I would say keep perspective. Keep perspective. You know, there's a lot going on in the world as we speak. Very critical, alarming, heartbreaking, frightening situation going on now in the Middle East. So let's pray for those people. Let's get our credit cards out if we can. So let's keep perspective. We are not alone in our worry. People all over the world are dealing with something. Number one. Number two, community. Research tells us that community is the glue that helps us get through tough times. In isolation, everything is much more difficult. Challenges are amplified. So my deepest recommendation for anyone who might be struggling with isolation, aloneness, try to get connected with a community, with a church, a temple, a group, because it's important to belong at a time like this. To belong to, we say tribe. It's so important. Years ago, centuries ago, our ancestors belonged to tribes, and that's how everything got done, right? A sense of community. Yes, men, hunters and gatherers, women, got together and made meals and conversed. And it's important to talk about how you feel to people whom you trust. So belong to a community, talk about your feelings, plant yourself in a little garden, where you can be yourself and be open and honest. Cliche, but it's practice mindfulness. Is it raining? Is it raining in here? That's what I heard.
Keep going. You're doing good.
Practice mindfulness. Don't poo-poo that, because, part of being worried and anxious is talking in what ifs. Yes, but if this happens, then what if? And then what if the next thing happens? And what if? And that just, yes, we have to be planful human beings, but too much what ifing, there's no end to that. We'll what if ourselves into, the stratosphere. So try to redirect, bring yourself back to the present moment. In this moment alone, I'm okay. In this moment alone, my family is okay. If we have the luxury of saying that, people right now in the Middle East do not have that luxury.
Absolutely. Yes.
But if you do, mine it and be grateful for it and use it. Talking about feelings, engaging in things that help us with our creativity, creative expression, drawing, painting, creating something tactily with our hands. Again, you're giving an outlet, you're giving expression to what you feel, to what you hold dear. Never lose sight of your core values. Just because other people may not be honoring your values, don't lose sight of them. In fact, I would say we must double down on our values of humanity, openness, making a contribution, loving other people. Love is a verb. Love is a verb. It's not just something in our head I love. Love is a verb. Show it, demonstrate it, do it, act it out. This is when it's good to be an acting out human being. When you do,
when you act out love, yes.
when you act out love. When you act out love. And that's it. And that's a day-to-day practice. And it's not about changing the outcome. The way to change the outcome or influence the outcome is to vote.
Yes.
Is to vote and use prayer, affirmative prayer, and meditation, and visualize a world that works for everyone and hold that vision. And, some people might be listening and say, oh, come on, that's, woo-woo, frou-frou, whatever. If you have a better idea, I'm open to it. I know of no better idea. Right?
I want to,
educate. We have to educate ourselves. Okay. We have to read, reputable media outlets and, read between the lines and be a critical evaluator of these facts and be open-minded, so.
Yeah. And that's what, for me, people that I know and love, it just seems that their critical faculty has left town, especially around number 45. I mean, it's gone. And so, and also to love them. And I also want to say, to kind of piggyback on what Catherine was saying, please don't do this alone. All right. If you are experiencing angst, if you're experiencing like depression or anxiety, don't mess around with that stuff. Please go talk to someone, get involved in a community, go talk to someone safe. There's plenty of outlets for individuals, again, to receive therapy from the comfort of your own home.
Sure.
So please do not do this alone, that you have other people that are there to love you and support you. We will get through this somehow. We will. And I know people are saying, well, I don't know. No, we're going to get through this somehow. Our country, if you examine the history of our country, especially in the late 60s, do you remember how divided our country was over the war?
Yeah.
And, it led to, unfortunately, the shooting of 4 students at Kent State University, which is like right around the corner from me, from where the top secret bunker is located. So it's just, we need to understand that this is a phase. This is what we're going through. And again, to not stuff the feelings, but to go ahead and to have safe spaces where you can process through them rather than going ahead and stuffing them in. Catherine, we only have a few more minutes. So tell us about your brand new program here.
Well, November 3rd, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Who do you think you are? I'll take questions. Of course, people can write their comments in the chat. Agree with me, add to what I'm saying, disagree with me. We're going to talk about narrowing the gap between who we think we are, our masks, and who we really are at core, at our deepest level. Because in that gap is where we can feel like an imposter. In that gap is where we can feel stretched, what's the word I'm looking for? Not stretched in a positive growth way, but stretched beyond our bandwidth, beyond what comes naturally to us. So we want to narrow that gap. And I think we're going to have a good time doing that on Who Do You Think You Are, November 3rd, right here on this wonderful station, New Thought Media Network.
Yes. Boy, man, she sounds like a pro announcer already. Yes. 9 o'clock Eastern, November the 3rd, again, will be the premiere program of Who Do You Think You Are? Listen, let me just say this. I put up a lot of people's websites during my program. This is a wonderful website. CatherineDuca.com, CatherineDuca.com. Go to the website. Wonderful things about her book. about all the A-listers that she knows, and she knows everybody.
I know you. I know you. That's
Oh, well,
what more? What more?
well, we do. I did finally last year meet with Marianne Williamson.
Did you?
We were at the conference or the Parliament of World Religions. And we also had a common friend of mine whose program I produced on Sunday evenings before Jim's show with Reverend Dr. Charlotte Manning, and who was a real, just a wonderful, loving human being who used not only the Course in Miracles, but also was extremely active in the Washington, D.C. NAACP. And she worked for Marianne when she was in Detroit at Renaissance Unity. So, and she even spoke at her funeral.
Really?
Yeah. So so it was nice to go up to her and say, yes, we have in common our friendship with Charlotte Manning. And she said to me, yes, it would have been nice to have her right now.
Mm.
Yeah, it really would have.
Sure.
Because, Miss Dr. Charlotte, who loved me as her producer. She called me her roadman.
Roadman.
Yes.
Roadie? Is that?
The one that prepares the way for the superstars. So I'm the one that, make sure that the green room is stocked with Perrier. Now, what is in your writer for your green room for your show?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not the blue M&Ms. It's not. I think a grape or two.
Oh, okay. So you're, man,
low maintenance.
I will talk.
I mean, they have to be green grapes and they have to be seedless. And if you don't mind slicing them in half, if that's not too much to ask.
That's funny.
Michael, thank you for having me. This was
we're going to get a lot more of you here coming up here, but again, the brand new show coming up here in November the 3rd, 9:00 Eastern. And again, even if you miss it, one of the nice things about all of our programs is that you can go to our YouTube page. Everything is archived there. So if there was something that someone says something, Catherine said this, or they were talking about that, and you're at your spiritual community, you can go and take a look at it, and, bring it up and take a look at it. So we get a lot more views during the week than we do sometimes during our live broadcast. So, and I tell all the hosts that again, not to get too concerned about the number in the upper left-hand corner. Now I look at it just to make sure that people, wherever that they're watching from, that I know where they're from, but we get all kinds of people during the week. So what we say during the live, we trust that it will help someone even at 3:00 in the morning. Mm. So, but again,
I'm an avid listener and I listen all weird hours, I have to say. So the replay or the archives is that's really where the value is. Could access it anytime.
Absolutely. CatherineDuca.com if you'd like more information, or if you would like to explore working with her, CatherineDuca.com. She has all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, we'd have to spend another hour just going through her website. Catherine, it's been a real honor working with you. And again, thank you so very much. And excited about the brand new show coming up.
I can't wait.
All right. Thank you so very much. And we're done. Wow. We're even ending on time. How about that? So again, thank you so very much for joining us tonight. For all of you who are watching, if you would like, again, to help us out here at our wonderful network, if you could go to ntmedia.org/donate. We are looking for people who are partners, people who like this type of programming. This stuff is different. This is extremely supportive, very enlightening. And again, the people find our network not by accident. It's because they're ready. And that's why that they are searching through the internet. They find us on purpose. The purpose may not be visible, but they find us because they're ready. So again, ntmedia.org. And if you could go to /donate. And again, please give a very generous one-time gift. Or you can do like myself and Catherine. We are monthly donors. We are on the monthly plan, which means that it just comes directly out of our accounts. We put it in our budget because we believe in this network and we believe in the message of a world that does work for all. So on behalf of Catherine Duca and also my boss, who cringes every time I say it, the Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, I am Reverend Michael Mangus, and I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night and also a great week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.